I remember, you probably don't remember me, but fucking, I've played up against you a couple of times for Dolby when you were playing for
Yeah.
Brother. Yeah, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I was, yeah, keep an eye on this hooker. He's a fucking scary cunt. I was like, you can never get used to being the big dude because fucking, yeah. But anyways, so like, how did you get into Muay Thai? Or was it like footy first, or was it through footy that you got into Muay Thai? Or
So it started off. So my dad fought years ago, and
yeah,
then he's ran his Muay Thai gym for about 28 years now.
fuck,
So yeah, just as a little kid, you sort of just grow up to whatever your dad wants to do, and
shit.
yes, I had my first fight when I was 7, and then I was in the gym from ages like 4 onwards or so. I was in the gym, kneeing the bags and
Oh
doing
yeah.
all the fun shit.
So, well, fucking back that up. How the fuck did you fight at 7? Like, how does that even
Yeah,
work?
yeah. So I had my first fight when I was 7 at the Broncos Leeds Club on a pro show. Headgear, 16-ounce gloves, shin pads. At
Hmm.
I think it would have been like 31 or 35 kilos or something
Yeah.
like that, dripping wet.
Well, so like, is there knockouts and shit at 7 years old, or is they just like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
fully?
It's yeah. So you fight 3 2-minute rounds, 1 minute break, and yeah. At the end of the like back in the day, like the at the end of the fight, if the kids put on a good fight, all the crowd would throw in money. So I was getting paid from
Clean.
7 years onwards.
Yeah. Oh fuck. Oh well, I never knew that. That's fucking crazy. I guess it makes sense. Like when you look at footy as well, like you've got 6, 5, 5, 6, 7-year olds playing a full contact sport, and anything can really fucking happen, in regards to injury or like the actual hardness and toughness of the sport.
Oh,
So
100%.
like that fighting side of it must just be like, must be similar to that in that regard. But fuck, I never knew that. So you got into it through your old boy. Was he a massive, like, obviously he was a massive fighter to have his own gym, and that's just in Toowoomba?
Yeah, yeah. So we for years he just ran it out of his shed, like in his garage,
Yeah,
in town. And then we moved out of town a little bit, and then we just ran it out of the shed for years. And then the council jumped up and down on us about playing loud music, and I don't know, it was just some old girl that wasn't happy about it, I think. And then we moved into Smithy's gym, and yeah, so now we run the Spain's Muay Thai gym out of Smithy's gym here in Toowoomba.
yeah, wow. So you lived in Toowoomba your whole life, got into footy got into boxing through your dad. So you fought since 7. Um,
Yeah.
you played footy in between that, obviously, or did you just put it aside to play footy? Or
No, no. So I fought and played footy
yeah,
straight from 7 onwards. And then, yeah, when I was like 12 or 13, I started to make Clydesdales and DD and Mustangs and things like that. And then I was like veering towards footy for a little bit, but still training, still fighting.
yeah,
And then when I was about 16, I sort of took the jump. I was like, nah, like I'm going to give fighting a red hot crack. And
yeah.
yeah, haven't looked back since.
Well, it's funny you say that because that was like the chat we had with Tommy Nolan a couple of weeks back. He like similar in that regard. He was like making Clydesdales, and then was like, oh, but he was different obviously because he said he started training for footy, and
Yeah.
fighting was kind of just a side gig. But you were always, fighting was always an option open for you, obviously through your dad and through um
Yeah.
like through your history together doing it. So like it was obviously, it wasn't always boxing. Oh, Muay Thai. I say kickboxing. Sorry, man. I'm not
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to.
that's all right. That's all right, bro. Same shit.
So, what was your first, like? Oh, well, fucking 7 years old. But like, what was your first actual fight like? Like, was it what you thought it would be, or was it
I,
fucking
I
way
I
crazy?
cried from round one, right through to the end of round one. Then I cried again in the second round, and I cried again in the third. But
Was that when you was like?
uh,
Oh, was that when you were 7, or was
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like, what about like when you turned 15 or 16, or when did you actually like really start picking up and fighting?
Yep. So I had 10 fights up until I was about 11 or 12. And then I sort of had a break from 11, 12 to 14 of just playing footy. And yeah, I wanted to be an NRL superstar one day and all that, but continued to train. And then I traveled to Thailand and trained at Simbi Muay Thai in Phuket, in Rawai, Phuket.
Fuck, how old were
And
you?
then I fought 14 turning 15, no, 13 turning 14, and I fought a 21-year-old Chinese man for my first pro Muay Thai
Yeah.
fight, and yeah, we both got carried out of the ring, and yeah, it was insane. But yeah, ended up winning by unanimous points, a 3-minute round at 14 years old.
What was your weight there?
60, 61 or something. What I fight now, pretty much.
So you stayed like the same. Is that just
Yeah,
because?
I
Is that like? Do you
just
stay with
used
the
to be a
wrong
little
weight
bit
or you just?
chunkier, man.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah,
you happy at the weight you're at now?
yeah, man. I fucking never felt any better. So I fought about 3.5 years ago now. I fought in the K1
Mm.
in Japan, and that was at 57.2 cutoff. So I weighed 56 kilos, and then prior to that, I was fighting 65, 63, cutting down from 72, 71 kilo.
Fuck.
So yeah, always easy, man. I just do it all through diet and yeah, run 10K a day, do whatever needs be, and putting in the work with training and that is never any issue. If I get told to run at 3 a.m., then I'm lacing my boots up at 2:45 and I'm out there before 3 a.m.
That's proper like winner's mentality. But like a lot of people can sort of fucking laugh and piss and moan about proper athletes and how they say that proper athletes are like fucking like that. But that's how you create winners, eh? Just fucking stay the
100%.
line.
It's keeping that mindset, man. You in the fighting sport, if you're that 1% on whoever you're fighting, it
Yeah,
makes a hell of a difference, man.
yeah, fuck yeah. And like mentality as well, like that's mental toughness every day, getting up, doing that
For
shit.
sure.
Mm. So we fought overseas at fucking young. I didn't know that you were that. I knew you
Yeah.
fought overseas. I didn't know it was that fucking young. So what do you find the fighting style like? Was it any different or is it similar to over here or?
Very, very different. So the Thais score a lot different. So the first two rounds in Thailand don't really matter on the scorecard. It's the last three. So in Thailand, the first two rounds are very slow. People work their opponents out. They'll see what their strengths are, see what they're lacking. Where, yeah, I was just like super green to fight. So I just went all balls to the wall, just as hard as I could from round one until round five, man.
Do they find that like Aussie fighters are like that over there or?
Yeah, very much. Like Aussies are heavy hands, start fast, start strong, because that's just how sort of the fighting culture is over here. Like if you sit back and try and look pretty the whole time, like yeah, then we fight. But at the end of the day, we're getting paid to entertain. So if you're standing back looking pretty the whole time, like the crowd, no one wants to come back and watch your fight.
So how would you like? What kind of fighter would you consider yourself? Like, is that what you consider yourself? Heavy-handed?
Yeah, a walk forward fighter. As long as I'm not getting cut, I love to get hit, and yeah, like it eggs me on, and then I enjoy it more when if the crowd's cheering and they're loud, then I'm doing my job, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I can fucking only imagine. Like when you're in that. Like, what's the ring? The ring would be like 5x5, is it? Like 5 meter box.
Yeah, just a normal boxing ring, pretty much.
And that doesn't change. Like, there's no octagons or anything. It's just the normal boxing ring.
No, always a ring. Some rings might be a little bit bigger, or the ropes might be tighter than something, or different corner pads. But most of the time, it's all the same.
Wow. So, was it always Muay Thai, or you never considered boxing or MMA or?
I dipped and dabbed into boxing when I was a little bit younger. So like when I was 13, just to stay busy, I was like, stuff it. Let's just try some amateur boxing fights. So I had 11 amateur boxing fights for 10 wins or something like that.
At 13 years old.
And then, 13, 14.
It seems
And
so
then,
young, eh? Well, it seems young to me
I think,
because I fucking don't know, but fuck.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then fighting on the Smithy shows here in town, and then I
Yeah.
did a couple of amateur fights, Brisbane Gold Coast, and then I boxed on Les Sherrington card on the Gold Coast Convention Centre, and I
Oh
won a
yeah.
Queensland title on that, and
Yeah.
yeah,
That like when you're at those younger ages, is that how they run it? Is off do they run it off like champion titles, or is it just off
yeah,
best in Queensland or stuff like that?
yeah. So this day and age, they do it completely different. Like, not talking like I'm old, but in the fight game, I'm very old. Like
Yeah.
back in the day, you could be 13, and so I had a fight when I was 15.
Yeah.
Again at the Broncos Leeds Clubs, full tie elbows with knees to the head at 15 years old, and that's allowed. Where this day, like now, it's you got to have elbow pads, and if you're under the age of 15, you have to have 30 fight, above 20 fights to fight without elbow pads.
Ah,
And there's so many rules protecting the kids a lot more now.
yeah, I guess like the science is there now, even with rugby league and shit behind concussions and shit like that.
No, exactly right. Exactly right. Where, yeah, as a kid growing up and you're watching the pro fights, like you want to do what they're doing. So,
Yeah,
like, it's hard to hold back in that means.
that's fair enough. So is it like a massive thing in Australia? Because obviously it's not something that's broadcasted very much. The Muay Thai scene in Australia, is it a pretty big scene or?
It's a big community.
Oh, okay.
That's the best way to put it. Like if you're in the Muay Thai community, it's very large, but it's just whether it's because of the violence, because there's so much violence in every fight. Like it's not the gentleman's sport in a way. Like
Yeah,
someone can watch boxing and sit back and have no idea what the rules are and understand it. Where Muay
yeah.
Thai, like you got to understand what the grappling is, and if someone gets dumped, like that's big points. That's a big round for that fighter. Or
Is it would like for your future? If you stay the line with Muay Thai, would you stay in Australia, or is it beneficial for you to jump ship?
uh, ideally, to go to the Mecca is live in Thailand, train in Thailand,
Yeah,
fight in the stadiums, do your hard yards,
yeah.
and then move on. Where for myself, like I don't really have a very Thai style. I'm sort of a Dutch kickboxer slash love to elbow type of guy. So so I would love to live in Japan. Ideally, like I'd love to live in
Oh,
Japan and stay on that kickboxing circuit and then fight Muay Thai here and there. But at the moment, the culture in Australia for Muay Thai is just growing and it's getting bigger, like getting back to what it was back in the day. So
yeah,
if we can just keep working around here, and then the way COVID is, man, like you don't want to be traveling too far and getting stuck. So
that's fair enough. And like you said before, that your first, like you're hoping for your first fight for the year to be in June.
yep.
And is it a lot of that, like where you just got to wait for the fights to come up, or do people like can you go looking for fights or?
Yeah, well, yeah. So my dad is my trainer and manager,
Yeah,
and without a doubt, every single week, like there's a phone call on asking if I can fight on a show in Melbourne or Sydney, or where it's all well and good, but I'm not a full time professional fighter. Like I've got two jobs on top of this, and
yeah,
so I love fighting, but my work has to come first 80% of that time. And then that's why I just, yeah, fight 3-4 times a year and just make the most of it. Like I put my heart and soul into every camp. So I
yeah,
can't, like, the back-to-back fights don't work because I'm not getting paid to train.
yeah,
I'm doing it because I love it.
yeah, exactly. So do you get paid to fight?
Yeah, so the prize money is very average for the level that I fight. But yeah, compared to boxing, like you can be flat Vicky's average and get paid 5-10 grand to fight some other bum.
Yeah,
Where Muay Thai, I fight the best and the baddest and the killers in the world,
yeah,
and you're lucky if you're getting 5 grand a fight. Absolutely lucky.
and that's to win. Or
That's just the fight. That's just the fight.
you get more if you win.
No, no.
Oh fuck! Oh, I guess like yeah. No, but you're exactly right. And it's funny. Like I even think that we as humans we like to think as of ourselves as these like civilized beings,
Mm.
but how much we love to watch each other punch on.
Oh,
Like,
like you can
yeah,
be a gentleman at night, but when there's
yeah.
violence, you're gonna watch it.
Oh, the front row seats at the fucking like
Yeah,
boxing or whatever.
100%.
Well, so what's your record at the moment?
I've had
Record if you
64 Muay Thai fights
fuck.
for 15 losses. And then, yeah, I wouldn't have a clue on knockouts and draws, but
Yeah.
that's, just 15 losses. I think one draw maybe. And then I'm 3-0 boxings as well. 3-0 for two knockouts.
You have done a few boxing matches then, or just a couple?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, so in the past about 14 months, I've had 3 pro boxing fights and, yeah,
They just
knocked
come
out
up.
both boys.
Do they come
Hey,
up more often than not, or?
because COVID knocked around Muay Thai, the Muay Thai scene sort of went to shit for a little bit, and just shows were inconsistent, and promoters didn't want to put something on and then have to pull people out. So I sort of chased the boxing because I'm out of Smithy's gym, and Brendan runs an awesome show and it's great exposure.
Do you get many fights?
So
Like, do they get many shows in Toowoomba? So
yeah, man, yeah. Every 3-4 months there's a show.
oh man.
And they have it at Rumours International, and it's packed out, man. There's between 500 to 1,500 people there, and they're loud.
Yeah, that'd be so good. So those 3 boxing fights for 2 knockouts, what was it like knocking out them boys?
Good, man. Good, man. My first fight, I knocked the fella out. He said it was an accidental elbow, but it definitely wasn't. It was a right hook, and yeah, I slept him in 27 seconds or something in the first round. Yeah,
Holy shit.
yeah. I came out, jab, step back, right hand, right hook, sleep.
So is boxing, do you find boxing a step backwards in regards to like how simple it is, and you know that the only bloke is throwing punches and he's not going to throw kicks or elbows and shit like that? Like, is it an easier sport to to pick up?
I honestly, going into the boxing scene, I thought like that. I thought, like it's okay. I'm not going to get kicked. I'm not going to get elbowed, but it's a complete different game. Like you can play high level rugby league and you are going to be complete shit on the field for rugby. So that's just the best way to take it, man. Like I thought I had good hands, but I just had a heap of room to learn, and then just the fitness side of things, like work a complete different side of fitness. And yeah, I like the 3 fights. I just loved it because I was new in the sport. I was learning new things constantly and improving myself. And then at the end of the day, I knew it was going to improve my Muay Thai career as well. So
Pretty fucking crazy, but who were the dudes you fought? Were they like pretty well known pro boxers, or are they just bums?
The first fella was Chris Oliver. He's fought a few times in Toowoomba, and he's not too bad of a boy, but yeah, he's the type of fella that is either going to get knocked out or he's going to knock you out. Like he's not playing the game.
Yeah.
And he came off second best. And then the second fight, I fought a Italian boy called Fabio Rosati. I fought him over 5 rounds for the Smithies TGW belt. I punched him with everything I possibly had that night, and he just didn't drop, but I got the win. And then on the third fight, I was meant to fight Nate Nielsen from the Gold Coast, from Paul Briggs' gym, so like a renowned boxing legend.
Yeah.
And then he ran scared 2 weeks after signing contract, went missing. And then I had a fighter from up north, Mark Snook, another good boxer. He pulled out the day before the weigh-in. Had an injury or something, whatever it is, all well and good. And then I went through another 2 opponents on weigh-in day. And then finally, the guy I fought in the first fight said he'd put his hand up and fight me. So I fought him again, and then I slept him again in 30 seconds.
Oh, shit. Fuck, that's funny. Why do you think those other blokes pulled out? Like, do you think they just reassess, or?
It's in boxing, you look pretty if your record is O. So if you're 10-0, no, people don't look at who you're fighting or anything like that. Like the records are very protected at early stages, and then when you get to the high level, and then you're there to mean business. So
It's
where in
easy.
Muay Thai, it's like you've had 20 fights, I've had 30 fights. Well, come on, let's get it on. Like it's meant to be.
Yeah, fuck. So, fuck, that's funny about you knocking out old mate Tice. Oh, shit.
yeah, poor fucker.
How long did it take you to knock him out the second time?
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
So you got 4 seconds better or something.
Yeah. He threw a couple of more punches.
Oh, fuck. So, well, your Muay Thai record's pretty fucking good then. 15 losses for 60 fights or whatever it is. 60 odd fights.
Yeah.
You
There's
are you happy with
like
that?
I have yes and no. Like there's a couple of fights that were controversial losses. Like they landed more push kicks, I landed more heavy punches. Little things like that. Just goes under what the judges see on the night, but there's never anyone to blame. Like when it goes to the judge's decision, like if it goes that way and you don't get it, then tough titties, you should have knocked him out. Like that's the way I see it as, man.
Yeah, fair enough. Like that'd be frustrating. Like it'd have to be frustrating, but in
Oh,
regards when you
hard.
think you have a mad fight, but yeah, just miss out by like 1 or 2 points, which I'm sure happens.
Yeah, it's always a split point. It's 1 point. One judge put his head down while you landed that big overhand right and rocked him, while that one judge had his hand down. So he scored, oh mate, to win that round. Or there's always different scenarios, man.
Yeah, fair enough. So you said before, it was interesting what you said before about your life outside the ring. So you've got 2 jobs. What do you do?
So I run my own PT business out of Revolution Boxing called
What's
Dynamite
that called?
Fitness, and yeah, pardon,
What's your business called?
Dynamite Fitness.
When did you start
Yep.
that?
So I started it when I was maybe 17 and a half, 18.
Yeah,
So
fine.
I was second year Sparky, and then the apprenticeship company called me, and then they were like, "Look, we're gonna have to send you to Hamilton Island, 3 weeks on, 2 weeks off, or something like that." And I just thought, fuck that. I don't like that's gonna play out with my training. Like
Yeah,
fighting's gonna go, and then yeah, I just had a big conversation with my dad, and he just said, "Well, you're only young once. You can go back to electrical eventually down the track if it doesn't plan out." So I quit. I bit the bullet. I started training twice a day, and yeah, and then I took off. And then I just had people wanting to train with me, as I had a good name in Toowoomba for just fighting hard, and so then I just built off that, and then yeah, grew a love for just seeing people improve, whether it's mentally, physically, whatever it is. Like, so I just enjoy that so much more. So I was like, stuff it.
that's such a good fucking like example for people who like want to do something, but then just play the safe route. Like go
Yep.
to
Yep.
Hamilton, do what you got to do, and it's like, well,
Yep.
like if you got a dream, you got something you want to do, fucking back yourself. Like,
Oh, 100%, man. Like if you've got that itch for something and you're young, like what are you gonna do? You're gonna kick yourself when you're 32 years old,
exactly.
at home with your 2 kids and your wife. Like, man, I was someone back in the day. Like, you might as well just bite the bullet, take the risk. Like, yeah, you're only gonna get people shut you down and tell you that, like, oh, you're stupid. Like, you should have done your trade, or like stuff
Such
that,
a
man. Be different.
it's such an individual journey that like you have to take by yourself as well, because you're the only person who's going to see the vision that you have. So like it's hard. Like even with us and like what we've started out of Dolby with podcasts, like we fucking cop it every fucking day, and I'm just like, nah. Well, I fucking see a different vision to what you can't do. So,
100%, 100%. Every day when you're doing this, like you're loving your job and you're
yeah,
learning new stuff. Like you're not sitting at Coles and packing shelves and being like, "Fuck,
yeah,
I hate my life." Like none of that, man.
so bad. But so, well, fucking congratulations on your PT business. How's that going?
Yeah, good, man. I'm
Yeah,
flat out, like booked out 2 weeks ahead every year. Like each week, I'm booked out. Yeah, I probably got 20 to 30 clients through the books, and then people on a waiting list. And
And did you do your your PT course then, or?
Yeah. So I did Cert 3 fitness when I was
Yep.
in school.
Ah,
Just
smart. Should have done that.
yeah. I was like, oh, that'll be a good bludge. I'll get that. I'll
Yeah,
do that
fuck.
one.
I should have.
And
I
then
did fucking like Cert 2 in hospitality. It got me nowhere.
you can make a good coffee.
Yeah, not even. So yeah, no. Well, the Cert 3 in fitness is just fucking opens up a million doors by the time you get out of school. So the PT would have just been,
100%.
and it would have come second nature to you as well through like you're already good training ethic through your sport.
Yeah, the training ethic was already there. And then, like, for years, I've been doing strengthening and conditioning with my dad or going to other gyms. Or,
Yeah,
yeah, I remember as a kid, like, every afternoon, me and dad would be watching some sort of gym video at home before we head to gym because that's
yeah,
what we want to work on. So, like, you didn't need to have this fancy uni degree to succeed in whatever business you've got. Like, if you do your own homework and you focus what you want to be, like, you go from there, man.
yeah. It's fucking yeah. No, 100% agree. And so your other job, you work. Is that your other job there? Elite cryotherapy.
Yeah. So this is elite cryotherapy. So this is what my dad owns, and then I just run it during the days, and then when he's not in here, then I can shuffle my PTs around and do the cryos. So
Yeah,
we offer cryotherapy and then leg compression as well. Cryotherapy is an ice chamber.
yeah,
You go in there for 3 minutes, and it's just amazing for your body, man. Like we founded this. I couldn't get a good relief from massages, acupuncture, or anything like that. So we started to travel to the coast, and then we full cryotherapy. And then one day we were just like, oh man, it's like Toowoomba needs something like this, like something that's the same relief every session.
yeah. It's fucking smart. So have you guys got the monopoly on it then? He's the only place in Toowoomba that does it.
Um, at the moment, yeah. So there's been a couple of places, but they've gone belly up.
Yeah,
Just because of running the gas is so expensive, and as well, you got to put time in it. Like, we've done
yeah,
a couple of big courses for it, so we understand the body, and we're actually helping our clients a lot more. Like, we do a basic e-bolt gun massage just with those massage guns over
yeah,
your body before you jump in, and that creates a better blood circulation. So it promotes that cryotherapy a lot better.
yeah. And that's family businesses as well. Like
100.
you need that support there from your kids or from your old boys and shit. Like I know, like my parents run a couple of businesses here, and it's like the exact same. If we all didn't help out, they just don't work. So,
It all, you all bounce off each other. Like,
yeah.
if he's down, then I'm here more down, or if I'm out fighting or I was overseas, like, he'll spend more hours in here. Like, we just bounce off each other.
Oh, it's fucking awesome, mate. So, um, you got both jobs, the training. You got a missus as well, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, sure do, man.
For
She
some reason, I thought you
keeps
had a
me
kid.
alive.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought you had a kid. You don't have a kid, eh?
Nah, I've just got a little bulldog that's the same size of a kid, bro.
Okay, fair enough. Happy with that.
Yeah.
So does it do you still reckon you got a pretty rich social life outside of the ring?
Social life is very little, man. Like, I honestly haven't been in a club since I was 18. Like, I just just no interest. Like, I got bigger goals. I'd rather put my money back into the business, things like that. But yeah, I used to have a huge group of mates, and then just, yeah, the way life is, like, you just move on, you break away from those big groups, and you have a smaller circle, and
Yeah.
yeah, you see through the
Shit, yeah, and you find out who your real mates are and who's going to stick with you, and then, but at the same time, like
100%.
it's not complete, like it's not a bad thing that you're not mates with them anymore. It's just different, different
It's,
tunnel. You
yeah,
go different ways.
yeah. You're gonna follow one tunnel and go down that road, or you're gonna go down another road. So, like, I just chose to distance myself from those big groups because, like, they're out drinking Friday night, and I'm training till 8, and then I'm making sure that I have this amount of protein, this amount of carbs, this amount of fats in my body. So the next morning I can train at 110%. Not, oh shit, I'm fucking hungover because I went out with the boys. Like,
And but you've got a different completely different set of goals where, you know, you're fighting to be the best in your weight division. And so, like, that shit's not going to fly. Like, because that's what, you know, like it could be those, you might think they're only a couple of nights on the piss, but they fucking add up quick. And then next thing you know, exactly like you said, you start rocking up a train hungover, start losing interest. And yeah, man.
Exactly right. And when you're in the combat sports, like if you have a bad night, it's a fucking bad night. Like you're gonna get cut open, something might get broken. You might get so most fighters, mum and dad will come watch them, or the family or the missus. So like the best way to put it, like, do you want to be knocked out in front of your mum, dad, chicken, dog, whatever, whoever it is to watch you?
Your
Like,
chicken.
yeah.
So do you have a favorite Muay Thai fighter or like a favorite current Muay Thai fighter?
Uh, like I watch a lot of One Championship, and I love like watching like Super Bond and like high level ties, and then some good Dutch kickboxers. But as a kid, like always looked up to Nathan Corbett. So they used to call him the Carnage, and yeah, he just ran through everyone back in the day. And I just I was lucky enough to, when I fought in Perth, he came with me as he was a commentator for the show, and he sat next to me, and just like his words, like he's just saying that like when he fights, he doesn't want to just fight someone, he wants to cave their skull in. So like that, and that's just stuck with me. I think I was maybe 15 or 16 or something, sitting on the trip, and it was very clear as day. So like that type of mindset, like in the fight game, like that works.
Yeah, 100%. And so like, so if that's your biggest inspiration and your dad got you into it, so what do you think the future holds for Brendan Spain going forward? Do you think you'll move overseas or?
I would love to. I would love to get on that Japanese kickboxing circuit, or fight somewhere in Europe and travel a bit. But at the moment, like if I can chase these big fights in Australia and just get up my ranking, get this WBC, and just at the end of the day, I just love entertaining. Like the legacy, I want to be remembered for just putting on a show always. Like my record means nothing to me. Like they're just a number of fights, and they're just a number of wins and losses. So if I can just put in 100% in every fight, and people at the end of the day, they walk away from that fight and they're like, fuck, that redhead with that mullet, he can fucking bang.
Oh, you would have to be like, there wouldn't be too many like you, I don't think, in fucking Thailand.
Nah. Yeah, so I don't know, like the future holds whatever for me, man. Like I just plan on growing my businesses, growing my name, fighting just as it comes. Like I've been fighting professional about 7 years now. Yep. So like I'm getting a bit long on the tooth when it comes to that. Like I'm starting to get a lot of injuries regularly, but lucky enough, I know a good place that can sort out your injuries. Yeah.
I'll just ask you the one question we've been asking most of our guests, and I'll let you think about it. But what is the best life advice you've received along your journey of being a Muay Thai boxer?
Like it's sort of advice, but it's sort of not. Just like if you honestly have a dream and you can manifest that dream constantly, whether it's you driving a Ferrari on the Gold Coast, like manifest it over and over and over, and eventually, like one day, it's going to come true. I remember being a kid watching K1 shows. So the K1 show in Japan is like they pack out stadiums, 50,000, 30,000, 20,000.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there being 10 years old saying to dad, like, oh, look at that. Like, that's so amazing. Like, imagine being that level. And then fast forward 10 years, man, and I'm walking down that runway in front of 15,000 people in that exact spot. So, like, if you have a dream, and even if people are like, you're silly, you're like, you're never going to do it, like, fuck what they think, man. Like, follow your dreams, man.
100%, man. Anyway, well, we'll wrap it up there. I don't want to hold you. I know you got training after this, but Brendan, massive thank you for coming on today. congratulations on everything you've done so far, and we hope the absolute best going forward. I'll just give a quick shout out to Brick Lane, who come out and sponsored this episode. Beautiful beer. Make sure you get on, try it. And if you have a look at the Gabs Beer Festival, go make sure you have a taste. Brendan, mate, thank you so much.
It's just good to explain my story, man. Like, I've had a shitload of fights and I've got a lot more to say. So I'd just like to thank all my sponsors, and then thank you, you guys, for chucking me on. I appreciate it.
Anyway, Buzz, massive thanks for coming on. We'll
Awesome.
definitely be in touch.